Okay, today's video we're going to talk about how to get good results with events, conferences, trade shows, seminars. The strategies I'm going to give you here on today's video will work for all of the above and work very, very well. I'm going to go over specifically a case study of where we're actually doing these exact PPC strategies at our PPC firm. For a cryptocurrency conference that runs on a regular basis several times a year. Sorry. And with the results that we're getting from that cryptocurrency conference itself, I'll be able to explain very well what we're doing to get those conference tickets sold. So you can plug this in directly to your business and get the same results if you also have a conference, seminar, trade show, or event to actually fill up, and you want to do it through PPC ads, and you just want to do it in general. PPC being basically the main way that you could be able to do that for your business and have it pay off very, very well, and have it be done very, very systematically and passively once you got these campaigns set up. And with that, once you have this set up, you know, if you're like most people running an event, you're going to have other events. This is going to work to fill every event that you have in the future. So while it is a little bit of work to get it up and going for your first event and get it dialed in, for the most part, it's not going to take more than one time running it for one event that you're going to have it for all other future events just by flicking a switch. Turn the campaigns on. Of course, update the ads so it reflects what your advertising reflects the date range and what you have the conference. Other than that, you can count on a certain amount of tickets getting sold every single time, and you got a event business that just prints money like crazy. So with that said, I'll give you the overview and then the actual strategy that we're using. And then of course the amount of tickets that we're selling here using each one of these strategies for the cryptocurrency conference that we're promoting. So anyway, with that said, we'll get into it. You know, the main thing that people do wrong when trying to promote events is they try to get people looking for events, when in reality, that's not the actual only way to get people to come to your event and sell tickets to your event and so forth. And it's also not the actual scalable way to do it either. There's only so many people looking for your event. Most of the big boys are able to get people that aren't looking for an event to book the event. In fact, 90% of the bookings, once you get to a certain size, are going to be through marketing strategies that get people that weren't considering the conference to book, or of course just know about it because it's on a house list. They went to a conference before of yours. People looking for if you're going back to the example I had before with the cryptocurrency conference, so 10% or less. I mean, it's still valid, but 10% or less of your actual ticket sales are going to come from people looking for other or a cryptocurrency in general to go to through Google search. And that's what people think when they're starting out is the major play, when really it's just a very small piece of the puzzle of the pie. So anyway, I'm going to give you the 6 exact PPC strategies we're using to sell the tickets through PPC. Some of these take a little bit of finessing to build up the audience that you're going to target with PPC, but nevertheless, once you have a group of people to market to, the PPC will be the driver that gets people into your website and then purchases the ticket or books the spot at the seminar or whatever that you want to promote. That said, we get into it. Here's the actual 6 ways that we're using, all ways through PPC, because we're running a PPC agency here, and so PPC is the hammer that we use to pound every single nail and problem that we have for our clients. I get more sales for our clients. I have the strategy and then the amount of signups that this strategy is actually netting us on average for cryptocurrency conference and client that we're promoting and helping promote their conference, in which they have several thousand people that they need to be able to go to those conferences every single time they have a conference. Okay, so the first one on the list, and actually these are actually sorted so that the strategies that have the lowest impact are up top, whereas the ones that have the biggest impact are more towards down the bottom. It's not, a concrete, it's not a concrete thing that, what's here at the bottom 5 and 6 on my list is going to be the one that drives the most actual ticket sales for you, but for the most part, it generally will. And as I mentioned before, what's the least important for you to get ticket sales for your event, conference, trade show, whatever, is going to be people looking for a event, seminar, trade show, conference itself, which is the very first thing I have on my list, which is find all competing events and show up near them in Google search. So in other words, with that, I don't even bother if somebody's looking. Certainly we could do it and have done it before for other people promoting other conferences, but very few people are searching for cryptocurrency conferences on Google. You can have your ad there. You're not going to get very many people because there's just not that many people searching. But if you're in a big enough niche, I would also do that too. We usually just, skip over it for the most part and just go directly into people looking for other conferences. So if somebody's searching for we group up, make a list. What's all the other cryptocurrency? I'm just going to give you with the example that we're using here. All the other cryptocurrency events that's occurring within the next year. We'll make a list of all those, and then we'll find out the name of the event, the times and dates, all the different permutations of the ways people are searching for that event, and then have those all as keywords, and then have our ad for our event, our competitor ad, if you will, show up for our event on Google above where they can find the booking for that other event. And that traffic converts real well. The problem is there's also so much of it. So with that, for an event that we've got to get roughly 3,000 people to attend each time, a couple times a year that we have the cryptocurrency events, we'll get between 1 and 100 tickets sold just for people showing up for other conferences on Google. We also do Bing, which anything works on Google, it works on Bing. And of course, if you're targeting people that are looking for cryptocurrency conferences itself, which if they're looking for cryptocurrency conferences, a lot of those searches, the reason why I don't like it so much is there's a lot of tire kickers there. Of course, a better search would be buy cryptocurrency conference tickets, but there's so little search volume there that you're not going to get much out of it. But just, if you are going to go after and try to, accept the smaller margins on the traffic people looking for, tipped conferences in your niche or whatever, or trade shows in your niche, home show, or home trade shows in my area or whatnot on Google search. Between that and the people searching for competing, trade shows or whatnot, you'll get, upwards of 100 tickets sold that way, generally speaking, just to those methods every single time you hold an event. So that's one of the smaller sources that we're getting traffic from and sales from of the tickets. The second on our list, though, which is also about get you about the same amount of tickets sold, find all competing events. So you have your list of all the competing trade shows that are going on at the same time or whatnot, and take that list, and then you create what is called a custom intent audience to target everyone who has either been to those event sites or searched for them in the recent past, i.e. the last 30 days, to have your banner ad show up for those people as they go on other websites across the web. Your ad will show up on places like weather.com, crosswords.com, CNN.com. Basically, then you have a trade show. You have a list of all the other trade shows that are occurring in the next year. And for a trade show, it's more about geographics. So, all the trade shows within driving distance of your trade show and where you're at. And so you collect that whole list of trade shows, and specifically then you'll create that, what I mentioned as a custom intent audience, and you put the actual, all the different ways to describe those trade shows in that custom intent audience. And then with that, also put the URLs of all the trade show websites where you go to register in this so-called custom intent audience. And then you save it, and then you have your banner ad that says, basically just advertises your trade show as well, that you're having it, that it's also within driving distance of where you're at, where the user's at, and then driving them to a landing page, which talks about you do need a landing page, sells well that trade show, explains everything about it, and then have a link for them to go book a ticket on that landing page. That's what I'm going to recommend. It's going to work way better than sending them to a home page. We use landing pages in 2022 and beyond now. But with that said, that'll get you everybody who, like I said, searched for a competing trade show that's within the geographic area where we're at, and anybody who's been to those trade show websites where we can register for a trade show. Obviously, you mainly could just walk into those places, but if there's a website where you can go there and research information about it, then we'll be able to have our banner ad show up for anybody who's been to those websites or just recently searched for that information about that trade show on Google. Maybe they ended up on another website to get information about it. But in either case, if they simply search for a competing trade show or been to our competitor's website that they own themselves, we'll be able to have our banner ad for our trade show up, and then we'll get people that way. We did the same thing for the cryptocurrency conference, all the other cryptocurrency conferences within the next year. We're having our banner ad show up for them, and just nothing fancy. Cryptocurrency conference in XYZ city at XYZ date. Click here for more information, or if you're interested in coming, sending them to a landing page. With that, this is another one that we're running on a consistent basis. Every event, like I said, that comes up, we're running the same campaigns because they're all proven, which you're going to be able to do when you set this up for yourself. We're getting, again, about 100 or less than 100, between 1 and 100 somewhere, actual tickets booked for that cryptocurrency conference with the competitor banner ad strategy that has the banner show up for people that have searched for or been on our competing cryptocurrency websites or search for those competing cryptocurrency conferences and information about them in the last 30 days. So in addition to people searching on Google search for the cryptocurrency conferences, we'll have our ad physically on Google search for people so that we can get people that way. After they leave Google with the second method, anywhere else they go on the web, except basically for the big social media sites, we'll be able to essentially have our banner ad get in front of them as well for the next 6 months while that conference is, we're still accepting tickets for that conference, and the conference hasn't yet come yet. And so those couple methods, you might be able to get 100 or so tickets sold. So it's not huge if you're trying to sell thousands of tickets, but it's consistent. These are all people that basically are actually interested in going to a conference. We just want to pull them away, versus somebody searching for cryptocurrency conferences on Google, and we don't know if that's a buyer or not. People searching for the competitor's conference by name, those are buyers. That's a 10 times better quality lead or prospect than somebody just looking for conferences by itself willy-nilly. So anyway, we have those two methods. Now, obviously that only gets us so far. Then we'll also go into, and this is the big one here, where we're starting to get into big numbers, but it's more work significantly and actually takes ongoing work. Whereas these other things kind of are just all on autopilot. Of course, this does take ongoing work. You're going to go to all relevant groups on LinkedIn and Facebook and post relevant news and send traffic back to your website in order to build an audience of people that you're going to market the conference to. So what that means is, if going back to the cryptocurrency conference example, what that particular client did, which they did it on their own and pretty much showed us the strategy, which that strategy worked great, and which that's why I wanted to mainly also make this video about marketing conferences today, so you guys that are also marketing your conferences can use it. they would just go, and it wasn't multiple groups, it was just one significant group on LinkedIn that was dedicated to cryptocurrency. They were just very active in that group, so that they became like one of the top members in that group. And what they would do is, when a really interesting article would come up, they would take that article and they would post that article, and then they linked that article to their website, and they would have that article posted on their website. And with that said, it also, that on their website, that article would have a link to the original source to credit that source back. So they were just syndicating content on their website. Technically, if you're doing this kind of thing, if you were going to post the whole someone else's article on your site and post the whole thing, just having a link pointing to the original article kind of is a gray area in terms of copyright infringement. What you can do to get around that is if you're trying to drive people to your website from a group, you can post a news article that links to a page on your website, a blog post or whatever, where you have that article posted, but the first 500 words are posted, and then it says read the rest of the article on cryptocurrencynews.com. And that way, if cryptocurrencynews.com sees that, you're at least driving some traffic to their site, they're probably going to leave it be. It's like, why would they complain? You're driving free traffic to their website. There's no reason to complain. You've got the whole article there, and you're driving no traffic to their site. That's the time when they would complain. So with this, and why are we doing all this? You may be asking, Corey, why are we doing this? The reason is we can build an audience to power PPC campaigns using this method. So if somebody's on a cryptocurrency group, that's the perfect prospect to be going to a conference. Why? A group is basically the same thing as a conference. It's basically, what do you do? What do you go to a group for? You go to the group. Yes, you want to keep up on current stuff, but you're also particularly like on LinkedIn, networking with other people in that group. So it's like the digital version of a conference, really, if you think about it. And so for the same reasons you would go to a conference, you would go to a group. So by going there and actually being an active member in that group, and then posting good articles that people would want to see anyway, naturally in that group, and sending them to your site, actually a couple things will happen here. You will build up a remarketing list, assuming you have a remarketing tag on your website, which you should have that set up before you start. Anybody who clicks on your news article to read it, you've got on a list, which we can now remarket to them and have a banner ad show up for them for our conference that we have coming up. In addition to that, people from that group, if you actually are really good, doing it the right way, and you're posting not just any article and half-assing it, but the good articles that people in that group would really benefit from, and filtering down the articles you post to just those best ones. Every time you post a link to your website, they after 4 or 5 or whatever times of clicking on your news article and going to your website, they actually then will start saying, hey, this actual person, they actually post really good news, the really good relevant articles that I should be reading. I'm going to start just coming to this website directly because it has all the best content from our niche aggregated in all in one place. Syndicating content, the value you present is that you're syndicating the best content. So what a Google News can't do is syndicate the best human-reviewed content. You put all the best human-reviewed content on that website, and then that website now becomes a beacon. Instead of just going to the group, they also can go directly to your website eventually after successfully capturing someone's attention through that group enough times. So anyway, through that website, you will start to build an audience, and people will start to come to that website directly, and those people that come directly to your website will have more, of course, brand awareness about you and the company that you represent, so that when you're promoting a opportunity to go to a conference that was put out by your same brand, the uptake rate to take you up on that offer to go to the conference is going to be much higher than if you were just a valued member of the group. Having a website, a trusted publication itself, will get you a much more qualified prospect for your conference, and will take you up on your conference at multiple times more, multiple times higher rate than if they just knew of you and through the group, and of course only knew of you that that far, if you will. So basically what you're going to want to do is take those articles, like I said, put them on your site, post either half the article or the full article, whatever you decide to do. And those articles should be posted on a site, whereas the other part of the site is dedicated to your conferences. So if you do get people to start going on their own to read those articles, they'll know of your conference, and then they'll start booking without even asking them. And of course, eventually, as they're reading those articles, they'll be curious what is on the rest of this website, and then they'll see your conference, and then it just makes it so much easier. So later on, when we have a targeted banner ad show up for that person later on, it's just going to make them that much more likely to take you up on your offer. So your goal is basically to suck all of the demand and all the attention away from that group by being a good member of that group, and to get it to your website. Because they're in the group to see good articles, of course, and to network, but to see good articles. If you post all the good articles and you can get some of those people, just some of them, to start going to your site, you can build up your own audience on the site. And eventually that site, if it gets enough traffic, will be the only thing that you need to sell tickets to that conference. So you're building an actual asset by doing this. But the main thing is, even if you weren't successful enough to get your website to, that blog on your website to take on a life of its own, just getting somebody to click on your link and go to your website one time is enough to put them on a remarketing list that we can have our banner ad show up for them, and get people to come to our conference. So they're the exact people that we would want to target, right? And but the reality is, if you're one of the most active people in the group and you're doing a good job promoting to the group and being helpful, they'll start to know you by name and trust and respect you just from that inside the group, to the point where your banner ad that shows up for somebody who had clicked your links and went to your website, it'll actually have a decent rate in which it'll provide you a decent amount of business from the people that you have your banner ad show up for, those people over time. So in a big group of 100,000 people, like in the cryptocurrency group, you can get several thousand people on your remarketing list doing this. And having a remarketing list of 5,000 people, the exact type of people that go to conferences in general in your space, that's worth a lot of money and a lot of sales, if you will. Through that method, it's not huge, but we'll usually, specifically for that, so we'll usually get about 100 to 300 tickets sold just from the audience that we build up through that one really big active cryptocurrency group. You could take this further if you went and you kept up and you were active in multiple groups, right? And it depends on your niche size, right? Some niches, you're not going to have groups that are that big, so you might not get that kind of results. But that gives you a general idea of a group of 100,000 or around there, how many tickets you can sell just by using that exact funnel I talked about, trying to drive people to the site, remarket to them. Eventually, those people that get to know your site, you remarket to them, you get a better response from those people. Eventually, the people that go to the rest of your site recognize you, market and promote a conference, and get even more from those people. So that's the third main way that we're doing ticket sales, and using PPC basically as the backbone or the power, how we're powering it. Number 4, remarket to all the people who went to the last conference. So this is just kind of like more of an obvious thing, but as you promote a conference, every single conference that you promote, technically, it should get easier and easier to fill your conference through the brand awareness and all that. But not only that, the remarketing list, or specifically your customer list or your house list, as they call it in the marketing space, all the people who went to your last conference, you upload that email list of those customers to Google Ads. If you have spent already $50,000 lifetime through your Google Ads account, you can, on the Google Display Network, have your banner ad for the conference show up for everybody on that list. If you haven't spent $50,000 already lifetime on Google Ads, you go to AdRoll, and you can do the same thing there without that requirement. You can also upload your email list of customers to Facebook, LinkedIn, Taboola, and any other place that'll take it, and just remarket to those customers everywhere. And generally speaking, we'll get 100 to 500 registrants just to that cryptocurrency conference again, just from remarketing to the past customers for a 3,000 member or a conference that 3,000 people can essentially go. That's the kind of the max capacity of that conference. We're able to then consistently get 10% of it booked just by having the banner ad show up for people who went to it before. Of course, you got email that you can use. You can call people. All those things will, all those other methods to get from your house list, from the people who went last time, will all get you more bookings. The more of it you do, the more of it you'll get. For this particular client, they don't like to do cold calling or do direct mail. So we'll just remarket to them, and then we'll get a few hundred just to that remarketing piece. So you have that. Number 5, link up with competitors to trade lists for a fee. So for the cryptocurrency conference, you do a business development deal with the other cryptocurrency conferences. You go to them and you say, or what we did, and this would be similar to what you should be able to do if you want to make this work for yourself or get more sales of your tickets, because 1 through 4 here isn't enough for you yet already. You say, hey, competing cryptocurrency conference owner, we'll make a deal. We'll exchange lists of people who went to our last event, and we'll just market each other's lists. So instead of just marketing our lists, and this is a space where this works well, because it doesn't, if a lot of people in the cryptocurrency space, for instance, they go to multiple conferences. So it's not a, you win or I win. We can both win if we market each other's customer lists. And if you take their customer list and you do what I mentioned just with number 4 with their own customer list, you can upload that customer list to, again, Google, Facebook, LinkedIn, and so forth, and have our banner ad show up for just them again. And those are all not just, they're known buyers of people who go to cryptocurrencies events in our space, or just go to events in the space that we're working in. It's about as targeted list, as you're possible. Well, basically the most targeted list we can go after, other than our own customer list. And so we can do that. You can generally just exchange lists with somebody if they're intelligent for the other conference. If you can't do that, you can say, I will pay you, $1 per name. So if you have a list of, 10,000 different people that went to your conferences over the last, 5 years, I'll pay you $10,000 just to lease the email list. And to them, they may not be honestly, I would not want to sell my list even for $10,000 if I was in that position, because they're going to siphon. Yeah, certain people, they really are only going to go to one conference a year. Not obviously everybody, like I was saying, but quite a few. And if somebody's marketing my list, that one conference they're going to go to, I might start losing a lot of business from that. It works where you can change lists. We can both get bigger, but just leasing my list for 10 grand, I'm not sure I would necessarily do that. But anyway, you can, about $1 a name, you'll make lots of money on that at $1 a name. When you're selling tickets for $600, $700, $800, you're going to make money. Your ticket, your acquisition cost, just to give you a general idea, will be at about $100 to $125, $150 when you're selling a ticket of that $600, $800 range. going after the people who went to your competitor's conference with your pitch for your conference. Of course, it's in the same space, if it's in the same space. So it gives you a general idea of how that works and what you can do with it. Routinely, we'll get between 100 and 1,000 of our tickets sold just marketing to our competitor conference lists. So you have that. Number 6, we get influencers to speak and then use their email lists to our advantage. So what this looks like, obviously, if you're going to get a big name to speak at your conference, that generally costs money, right? If we're going to get Grant Cardone to speak at our conference, that might cost $100,000 or probably actually $200,000, I would think by now. But the thing is, the reason why they pay that is because they are going to pull in a bunch of people to our conference. So we could get Grant Cardone to speak, and as a part of that deal, we can say, Grant, we want to be able to have you send out an email to your email list, promoting the conference. We want to also be able to use your email list to power a PPC campaign, to have our banner ad, which you'll have a custom banner ad for this that has a picture of your influencer on it and something that basically says, come to my conference where I'm speaking on August 29th. And so all the people who follow that influencer will start to see this ad that the person that they follow is going to be at this conference. And now I have a strong willingness to go to this conference, whereas I wouldn't have before. And you could supercharge this if you actually go and you do the driving distance thing. And that goes actually for all of the stuff that I'm talking about, but particularly for this. If I like Grant Cardone and I follow him and I see an ad saying, I'm, i.e. Grant Cardone, I'm going to be at this conference in your neighborhood on August 25th. You should go. And that conference is within driving distance of me, like even and more specifically, if it's within my city, the chances I'm going to go to that conference is like astronomically high, because why wouldn't I? Oh, I've always wanted to meet Grant Cardone. He's going to be at the conference at the convention center downtown. Of course I want a ticket to that. And so statistically, the closer the person is to where the event's going to be held, the higher your conversion rate on your campaign is going to be. So if you were selling tickets for $600 each, and your cost per ticket sales, $400, and that's just way too high for you, then instead of just chucking that strategy and funnel, that banner ad that you came up with, which if that's the case, you usually can fix the banner ad, you can get more out of it and fix the numbers that way. But even if you didn't or couldn't fix the banner ad or even the landing page to make it convert at a higher rate to make the numbers cost per sale come down, you could just narrow the targeting to just people that are geographically close to the event, and that'll get your cost per ticket sale way, way, way down to the point where it'll actually become profitable again. So maybe the question is, every strategy will work. It's just to the point, where can I actually run this nationwide, or am I going to have to run this just close to where the event's held? And for some of these strategies and some aspects of what you're doing, you can run it nationwide. Some aspects of what you're doing, you can only run it within the city where your event is in order to get a acquisition cost that's 15% of the cost of the ticket, because that's your limits. You can only spend 15% of the cost of the ticket on advertising, and that's just what you need to do. But with this, just to give you a general idea, we're able to get, for the cryptocurrency conference where we also do this, between usually about 50 to 250 in that kind of a range of tickets sold per influencer. That's a well-known name, we'll just say. A person, and when I say that, when we're talking about follower size on Instagram and LinkedIn and so forth, we're talking about somebody who has at least 10,000 followers, okay? 10,000 plus. You get that person to come to the conference, you use their email list to promote, and then with that, depending on the size of the influencer that is coming, we'll get 50 to 250 tickets sold that way, promoting to everybody who is on that person's email list that follows them through their email to see our banner ad and get people to now see that custom banner ad for that influencer, in which you'll have to create a custom banner ad for every influencer that you have. So that for the ad campaign to actually pull, that's certainly required for that campaign. You can't just have an ad show up saying, we have a conference. It has the picture of the influencer, and it talks to the user. Hey, I'm going to be at this conference. You should go. That's, if you want to know the formula. If you don't deviate from that, you for sure will have success with it. We'll just say. You should always try to break and test everything I'm doing on this channel, as I mentioned before. But if you want to start out with something that's tried and true, just go with that, because that's our typical formula we're always using after we've already done all the testing. So you don't have to go through all the testing. So in general, you can do that there. So in general, for a ticket that we're selling for $600 to $800, depending on the type of event we're holding, whether it's the one that we're holding in the wintertime or the summertime, and where it's located, the ticket prices are in that $600 to $800 range. We're getting a cost per ticket sold of right around $100 to $125, combined through all of these methods together, essentially. And pretty much all of them will be able to get that general $125 cost per sale. It's just a matter of how hard can we push the offer before we start getting the cost per sale goes above $125 or way above where we want. And that's why I said earlier, and with PPC in general as a whole, as I mentioned on this channel many times, it's not a matter of PPC will work. It's a matter of how much can you sell. Because if you can't get the numbers you want, you improve the ad, you improve the landing page, and then beyond that, you reduce your bidding or what you're willing to pay per click to a point where you reach the ROI that you want. Assuming you have a super well-targeted, group of people that wants to buy, that basically rule always applies. So with that, we can, that's why also we can get so many tickets sold for some of these things and then more for others, because we can run some of these more aggressively than we can with others based upon the willingness of the targeted people, the targeted group of people that we're targeting are willing to buy. If people are more willing to buy, we can pay more per click. We can run the ads more aggressively. We can show it more times to the same people, so on and so forth. And we can therefore just get more sales at the $125 cost per sale than we could get with other of the other strategy types, as I mentioned on this particular video here, 1 through 6. So all of them will get that $100 to $125. It does range and vary a little bit. It can go up to $200 on some others. We're getting it down to $30, but that's the $100 to $125 is the average we're getting in general. And so that's basically what we do to promote our conference. And as we've promoted trade shows before, as we've promoted seminars before, it's all generally the same process. So I gave you the example with the cryptocurrency conference, as we're constantly promoting that and have been for many years now. A couple times a year, we've got to fill that conference up with several thousand people. This is how we're able to do it and what we are using to do it. And every 6 months, it just takes a refreshing of the ads for the most part. All of their sales do not come exclusively from this, but we're talking about 75% plus at this stage, given we've had so much time to actually optimize all of these systems. Of course, they had other word of mouth, and they actually get some other people to shout it out through social media and some other stuff. But this is actually where you want to be if you're going to promote a seminar, because when you promote a seminar or conference or whatever, obviously you want that thing booked no matter what. And this is as close to guaranteed as knowing, for you to know that you're going to have your stuff booked out at max capacity, as you're going to get. Once you've done it once, the next time it'll pretty much be guaranteed to happen again for you. So it's 100% worth the process of doing all the ad setup and the funnel setup and the testing, because once it's done and you've got your numbers once, you'll probably be able to run it the same way for the next 10 years. And that's it. Just like we are doing for the cryptocurrency conference now, as mentioned. So with that said, I'll wrap it all up with that. I hope you enjoyed. If you liked the video, you should give it a thumbs up so we can get the information out to other people running conferences and help them out as well. I'd really appreciate that. If you like the strategies given and the style that I had made this video in, you should consider subscribing to this channel, as I have a ton of other content about other money-making strategies that work through and with PPC, in which everything we test at our PPC agency here, we give to you on this channel so you can be able to learn what works with PPC, and of course avoid the stuff that is a money suck and doesn't work at all. Beyond that, I also have a blog at guaranteeppc.com/blog with step-by-step instructions on how to build PPC campaigns that make money. And so if you're looking for more detailed advice on how to build PPC campaigns that work and which we have to guarantee for our clients here, you can find great information there as well, authored by myself as well. So it's just a bit more information that might be helpful for you in your quest to make money with PPC. We have a brand new program at our firm as well that we just started, where we're offering turnkey PPC campaigns to clients in multiple industries, where if you're looking to start a business and need a working PPC campaign, we have a working PPC campaign that we've worked on optimizing for literally years and are literally making millions of dollars in sales a year profitably after expenses of our clients, in which we can give you the campaign template that gets those results for that client, for your business specifically, as long as there's no conflict of interest, i.e. you're a plumber in San Francisco, we have a client making millions of dollars on the plumbing services campaign that we built for a company out of Orlando. Then we can give you the exact campaigns that we built for the company in San Francisco and the landing page that they're using and everything for your use in Orlando, and get the same results essentially that they are. And we also have product campaigns that we've, have done really well for some clients, in which they moved on to other better, more profitable campaigns in which they still make money, and you can start up a business selling those products using the exact campaigns they did, in which have proven numbers that we can deliver and show to you before you even, would buy into those products to deliver and sell those products in that market. So there's many different opportunities that we have for the hundreds of campaigns that we've worked on and campaigns that have worked that are just shelved, in which you can use. So if you're interested in that type of thing, reach out to my firm at guaranteeppc.com and we can talk about the different opportunities that we have for you. That said, hope you enjoyed this video, hope you learned a lot, and I hope to see you on my next video, where we have another great PPC strategy for you to be able to make some money with as well. See you then.